Kia ora, good evening. Roads in and out of Southland's port town of Bluff were cordoned off this morning as emergency services pieced together an accident scene that claimed the life of a 65-year-old male passenger. The fatal accident occurred at around 7:18 this morning near roadworks just outside Bluff's northern boundary. A Mazda with two occupants travelling south collided with the rear of a truck and trailer unit travelling in the same direction, killing the male passenger and causing minor to moderate injuries to the driver, who was taken to Southland Hospital. The driver of the B-train unit was shaken but uninjured. The road remained closed for several hours while the scene was examined and vehicles removed. An investigation into the cause of the crash continues. Meanwhile, a woman was lucky to escape with minor injuries after becoming trapped in her car on the outskirts of Gore. Police say it appears the woman lost control of the Range Rover in gravel, overcorrected and rolled the vehicle as a result. Quick actions from local people were praised by police, who say wearing her seatbelt saved her life. Southland man Wayne Edgerton has been sentenced to 7 months home detention, 400 hours community service and ordered to pay $10,000 in reparation. The 56-year-old renowned tuatapere landscape artist previously pleaded guilty to a charge of reckless use of a firearm causing death. Edgerton failed to identify his target and mistook Adam Hill for a deer on April 13th, shooting him once in the chest, causing massive internal injuries that took his life at the scene. Hill and his hunting companion were both wearing high-visibility fluoro hunting vests at the time. Face-to-face hospital visits could lessen with the use of telemedicine services following the Southern District Health Board's trial of remote medical consultations. Telemedicine delivers medical care and education via a Skype program like Skype and offers some patients convenient access to health care. Some outpatient clinic rooms have video links installed and consultants use these to liaise with colleagues, patients and other hospitals. The service is an add-on, offering another way for patients to communicate with doctors and therapists while saving on costly patient travel.
We initially experimented using a laptop and a patient and their spouse who very much appreciated not having to travel 2.5 hours to Dunedin and back again for the appointment, and that initial experiment worked. So we then looked at, well, could we do this using simple equipment like a smart TV?
Where else could it be applied in healthcare, do you think, at Southland Hospital?
Two of the other areas that we've talked to are speech language therapy and the dietetics service, who are looking at using it for actual treatment processes. So for instance, speech language therapy, or patients having speech language therapy who live in places like Te Anau or rural Southland could potentially link in possibly using Skype and speak with their therapist and go through any problems that they've had. And the same with dietetics. Often those appointments are an interview process rather than clinical intervention, and so they could Skype in to their clinician and have their appointment that way.
How many patients have been diagnosed or treated this way or consulted with in this way at this stage?
Very few at this stage. We're still experimenting with sound and visual quality, so we're still in the 2 and 3 kind of numbers, but it's useful to have started and we're looking forward to doing a lot more.
What's the reaction been from those patients when they've not had to travel to get this consultation?
It's been really positive. That they've really appreciated the opportunity to be a part of something that we're trialling, and B, not to have to travel 2.5 hours to Dunedin and 2.5 hours back, and they've really appreciated that.
Is there scope, do you think, for full outpatient clinics to be run in this type of manner?
Certainly, moving forward, we would be keen to do that, but we've got a wee way to go before we get that far. I think the savings probably to the patient in petrol for travel, and certainly a huge saving in time for both clinicians and patients.
A group of preschoolers got to see and experience a starry night from another perspective today as part of Matariki celebrations. The Matariki constellation and other computer-generated night skies had children from Southern Kids and all the this morning as they stepped inside a rare sky dome. At James Hargis Senior College for Year 9 and 11 pupils studying astronomy, the moon and tides, the portable sky dome is one of only a few in New Zealand and offers a digital representation of the universe. Pupils can see the polar ice caps of Mars, black holes and see what it's like to walk on the moon. In winter it's used for educational purposes, but in summer the content caters for tourists.
Now, before we go any further in space...
That's what people want to know about, what's specific to New Zealand, your Matariki, Te Rā, o Tainui, the Southern Cross, those sorts of things. But it's not just the stars we look at, it's the space between the stars. Funny enough, that's where a lot of the action lies, with stuff you literally can't see from planet Earth.
You've been a keen astronomer for quite a number of years.
Definitely, yep. My old man got me into it a number of years ago, and I've come into it again as an adult. It's good.
Do you think it's a bit of a dying art form for people to learn about solar systems, or is it still as important?
I think it's definitely as important. I think on a more serious note, the space race is heating up with the Chinese, the Indians, Japanese, America getting back in there. So I think in the next 20 years, people will be on the moon, and I think it's going to be big. But with regards to the traditional methods of astronomy, like Matariki, I think that's died out, but slowly having a resurgence too, which is nice. It has a connection.
Have you booked your flight with Richard Branson?
Not yet. I need to do a few more schools.
Stay with us, still to come on the bulletin. Southland's Foundation for Youth gets a financial boost and Queenstown's housing could soon be more affordable. Welcome back. In the first 5 months of this year, the number of serious injuries reported in forestry has dropped by nearly half compared with last year.
WorkSafe New Zealand figures show 46 serious injuries have been reported this year up to the end of May, compared with 82 in the same period last year. The latest figures from WorkSafe's new proactive tree felling assessment program show inspectors visited an additional 224 tree felling operations and issued 235 enforcement notices, including 36 prohibition notices which shut down part or all of a tree felling operation. Minister of Labour Simon Bridges says the significant decline in reported serious injuries is encouraging, but there is a long way to go to get the industry into safety first mode.
Queenstown's housing may become more affordable thanks to a new housing accord for the area. The median house price for Queenstown is $664,000, making the district one of the 5 least affordable housing areas in the country. Local council and government have been working on a collaborative approach to improve housing affordability in the area. Queenstown faces unique housing issues like having a large portion of its homes owned for holiday purposes. There's little land close to the town for easy housing redevelopment, and a large portion of the town's employees earn lower income working in the tourism and hospitality industries. The Foundation for Youth Development received a boost today in the form of a cheque for $1,500 from organisers of the South Island Dairy event. Event chair Corrigan Soman says it's important his organisation invest back into the community, and the Foundation for Youth Development seemed a logical choice.
We've been running this conference now for 16 years, so we've built a sort of fund up, if you like, over that period of time through success of our event, I suppose, and some surplus funds, and felt it really important to be able to give something back to the region that we visit each year. So for the last couple of years we've introduced this idea of giving some money to a worthwhile local charity, and something where there's some values that we see similarities with the values of SIDE and what we're trying to do with SIDE. So it's just great to be able to offer that money to CAN this year here in Southland with the Foundation for Youth Development.
Is it hard to make those decisions?
Well, it's probably harder to find the right organisation or the right charity. For the last 2 years we've felt with some of the themes we've looked at the environment, and the Yellow-Eyed Penguin Trust was somewhere where we looked to, and the Selwyn Te Waihora work going on there around the lake and Canterbury as well. This year we were thinking around people and wanting to give something back, I suppose, to people in the community. Really appreciating the fact that the dairy industry is so much based around the people that are here, and if we're not thinking about bringing people forward into our industry, we're not going to prosper in the future. So it's great to have this charity available that we can give some money to. Yeah.
The Foundation for Youth Development was founded by Graham Dingle, the mountaineer, the great Kiwi mountaineer, with a vision to get all the New Zealand kids with better life skills. The kids that are on the brink of making a decision either way, So we run Kiwi Can in 7 schools in Southland. Kiwi Can takes the kids out of their classroom environment for about 40 minutes a day, or 40 minutes a week, and it teaches them life skills like anti-bullying, setting goals, trust and self-efficacy. It's a really fantastic course.
And how many schools at the moment, sorry?
7 schools covering about 1,200 kids.
And you'd be looking for more to join?
Look, it comes down to funding. We're always looking for more funding, so we're really happy that SIDE has decided to give us a little bit more funding today, so we're really rapt about that. And it means we're able to have a few more kids out, so we will match the capability to the funding. So we want to be in every school in Southland.
Traditionally, the changeover of Invercargill Rotary Club's presidents is an evening of fun and festivity, but tonight the new club president wants to use his changeover to help make a difference to a school in dire need in the Solomon Islands. Hunter Andrews spoke to incoming Invercargill Rotary Club president Ronald Dickens earlier.
It's a changeover from I'm the new president coming in, and at the same time we're going to make it into a fundraising evening, so we'll have a good time. We'll have a really nice Christmas dinner, but we've kept the cost of it down really low, and we'll have about $20 per head out of the evening's meal that we can donate to the Solomon Islands. The money's going to be going to a school there, most probably for training teachers. They've got a place to have school, but they need teachers, and there's people available to train, but they've got no money to do these sorts of things, so we'll provide that.
Why the Solomons? Why make that decision with that school?
Well, partly because of my association with this church here at Harvestfield. I already knew that we had a relationship with the Solomons and was aware of their needs. Plus, it's quite soon after those awful floods, and they're even struggling even more because of that. A lot of these people live in low-lying areas and they get washed out.
And this is a particularly poor part of the Solomons, or near Honiara?
Very near Honiara. It's a place called Burns Creek where people just squat. They scavenge around in the dump to find food and what have you. It's a very, very poor area.
And education's key, isn't it? Of importance, this money that it gets to them.
It is, yes. That's the sort of thing that will give them hope, and it's something that as a Rotary Club we are very interested in. We support education initiatives a lot, because it's proven to be a thing that takes people from a miserable life of crime and being without to a better life.
Next in sport, the second part of the Herald's interview with All Black great Buck Shelford from the news team. Good night.